Yo, 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 hello, and welcome to the 1218 Show. This is episode 6, I believe. Yeah, episode 6. So last week was our first guest. I had Aaron Brady on. I had a great time interviewing him and talking about old times. He is going to be a regular guest, hopefully. We're going to try to get him on a couple times a year. So another thank you to Aaron Brady. If you haven't had a chance to check out that episode, please do. There's quite some good stories in there, and and he's an interesting fellow to talk to. So I was very excited to have him on and let him be the first guest that I was ever interviewed. A couple other things. I have there was a moment in that podcast where I referenced an old football game regarding the Kardashians, and it was quite a funny little story that was passed around. I don't know, went viral, or maybe not viral, but years ago. And so some people had some questions about it because I was trying to recall it from memory on the podcast, and so they asked what was that you were talking about or whatever. So this week I dug it up and I'm going to read it back to you right away, just because it is quite entertaining. So this is it's got a picture obviously of the Buffalo Bills on it, and it says the Buffalo Bills barely lost a game in 1970 by missing on a bad pass for a touchdown. The loss allowed them to get the first pick of the draft, where they took O.J. Simpson. O.J. lived in Buffalo, where he met his wife, Nicole, and then allegedly killed her. He then hired Robert Kardashian to be his lawyer. They won the case, making the Kardashians somewhat famous. Then Kim drops the sex tape and becomes famous. So basically, the 1970 Buffalo Bills are the reason we have to deal with the Kardashians today. Because if they had won that one game, they wouldn't have had the pick to take OJ with, so he would have never met Nicole and thus never had the chance to kill her, preventing the entire Kardashian family from ever being even a sliver of a subject in modern culture. Damn you, Buffalo Bills. Damn you. Again, just a silly little aside, but that was the story that I was referencing last week, and again, I had a couple questions about it this week, so I wanted to make sure that I read that aloud so that you guys could know exactly what I was talking about. For those of you that have been keeping along, in that, let me say this: I haven't promoted the show too heavily yet. Those of you that are listening are in sort of in my inner circle, friends of friends, those kinds of things, and I appreciate those that have passed it along already. However, I'm going to really start plugging it now. Now that we're a few episodes in, I've gotten a little better at my production, as well as my audio, my speaking ability, all the things that I'm working on to make a better podcast. I've been consciously and actively working on it, and I think that I've got a little bit of a body of work now where I can really start promoting it. That being said, if you got a friend or a family member or whatever that does enjoy listening to podcasts, and you've enjoyed any of these, please feel free to pass it on. I'm going to keep them short, as I've mentioned before, so it's not too much time. But and if you haven't yet, go to the YouTube channel and click subscribe. With YouTube, I need to have 1,000 subscribers before you can monetize it. So it would be nice to, if I could make a few bucks doing this as well. Not I don't know what the expectations are, I guess is what I'm trying to say, but it would be pretty cool to be able to do this and actually get something deposited in my account once in a while. So that being said, go to the website, go to the YouTube channel, and you can subscribe on that, or you can do it your Apple Podcast. I mean, there's all these different avenues that we've connected, all of which are available on the website www.the1218show.com. Just like it sounds, the1218show.com. Check that out, and you can click on the YouTube channel, you can click on the Apple Podcasts, or you can stream the thing straight from the website. In any case, I want to thank you again for your time, and thank you for listening. So let's get into this week. I had a hard time picking a topic this week because it's been a rough week. It just seems like boulder after boulder keeps getting in the way, or a little bad news here, or an obstacle there, a hurdle there, and it's been a rough week, and I didn't want to get on the podcast and just have a bitch session, and complain about my life, what's going on, or anything at large. Though those are topics that I want to discuss at some point in the future, but I kind of want to craft them and have, excuse me, have a perspective and an argument and have some time to process them in my mind before I talk about them. These are, we all have daily struggles, obstacles, things going on. So I'm aware of that. I know that you're aware of that. Nobody's one sets of problems are anything to downplay. Everybody has something going on in their life. So instead of having a complaining session or bitching about what's going on in my life to you like you care, I decided that this week, usually when I have a really shitty day or a crappy few days or bad news or whatever, once I kind of settle down from whatever it may be, I usually end up putting on an old movie that I like, and I've got so I made a little list of my favorite feel-good movies that I'm gonna dispel to you, because a lot of them are not fan favorites, and a lot of them are underrated. They weren't big box office smashes or anything like that. So I'm going to throw out 10 of my favorite movies to watch when when things are on the down, on the downslope, or when things aren't, when the chips aren't falling your way. So I'm going to run through this list. If you like any of these, you can comment on the YouTube page. I know that there's a couple of guys out there, or a couple of people out there that'll have some issues with some of these because we've talked about them in the past. Like, I'm like, oh, I love this movie. What? That's garbage. That kind of thing. So so I know that there's going to be some naysayers here, but this is 10 movies that I absolutely love, especially when I just need a mindless, fun comedy. Most of them are a little bit older. A lot of them are like goofy coming of age things. But if you haven't seen any of these movies, I highly recommend every single one of them. Even the ones that, if you go on to IMDb or something, that are not well reviewed. So here's the list. So, and they're not. This is not a 10 list in any order. These are just 10 movies that I put together. So, one of them is called Love Stinks. I don't know if you've ever heard of that or seen it. It stars French Stewart and Bridget Wilson. It's hilarious. It's Bridget Wilson plays this forever bridesmaid, meets up with French Stewart, and they decide to get married, and hilarity ensues. It's also sexy. Bridget Wilson looks amazing in it. So check out that film if you have not ever seen it. Put it on your list. It's a good one. Number two, the second one on my list is Maverick. It's kind of a silly. It was based on the old TV show that James Garner was in years ago, and the more modern version is from the 90s, and it had Mel Gibson and Jodie Foster in it, and it's just a movie about everybody scamming each other, the whole movie. Another one that I love, for those of you that know me out there, I'm a big fan of poker players, and I always love a good scam as long as it's not hurting anybody. So that's one of my favorites. Another one on the list. This one is going to get some flack, I know, but one of my all-time favorite movies. I swear I've watched it. I watch it at least once a year. I've probably seen it 30 or 40 or 50 times, and that's Rhinestone. It's got Dolly Parton and Sylvester Stallone in it, and it's a fish out of water story that is just, it's one of those that you won't really want to watch it because it's so silly, but all the jokes are so subtle that you have to watch it to really get them, and I love it. I could watch that movie over and over again. Moving on, this one's a little more popular, but it's still considered a cult favorite, cult classic, whatever, is Office Space. It's got Ron Livingston and Jennifer Aniston in it. It's another great one, especially for those of you in the world that work in an office, a small office specifically, deal with traffic, those kinds of things. It's hilarious. The next door neighbor is my favorite part. He's classic, but I don't want to give anything away. It's definitely on the list. Number 5, or the 5th one on my list, is Friday. Another one that's probably a little bit bigger than a no-name movie. Everybody's probably seen it, especially if you're in my age group. That's Chris Tucker and Ice Cube. It's hilarious. It's got quotable line after quotable line. If you've never seen it, check it out, because you'll probably hear a lot of lines like, "Oh, that's where that's from," and that's one of my favorites. So check out Friday. The next one on the list is actually a 2-1, because it depends on the time of year. I didn't know which one to put because they're equally great in my opinion, but that's the National Lampoon's Vacations, either Christmas Vacation in the wintertime, or or just regular Vacation, National Lampoon's Vacation in the summertime. They're Chevy Chase and Beverly D'Angelo. The first one, they're taking the kids to Wally World, or Vacation, they're taking the kids to Wally World. Christmas Vacation, the whole family's coming for a big Christmas thing. And it's just another one that hilarity ensues. Both of them, actually. Number 7, or the 7th one on my list, is Weekend at Bernie's. Another one that people are just like, "What? How can you love that?" Dude, how can you not love it? It's such a good movie. It's silly. I mean, just silly. Andrew McCarthy and Jonathan Silverman, they just play off each other so well, and the story is just ridiculous, but it's just too funny. Plus, it's set on a beach. Who doesn't love a good beach movie? That's just, and it's old school New York, like, old school meaning the 80s. That's a fun movie. One of my favorites. Another one I've seen a million times. Another one that was, I don't know if this was a big box office smash or not, but falls into the list of one of my favorite feel-good movies, but most of you have probably seen it. It's Coming to America. That's obviously Eddie Murphy and Arsenio Hall. Another one that if you haven't seen it, you have to watch it, just because there's so many quotes in it that if you have not seen it, you watch it now, you'll be like, "My gosh, I've heard that, this quote or that quote, or that's what that was." There's so many little jokes that come in and out that have come from that movie. And in daily conversations, you'll hear, just things, aha, those kinds of things. Like it really has something to it. All right, what do I have here? I got 2 more. Happy Gilmore, another one that probably everyone has seen, and if not, you should check it out. It's obviously Adam Sandler, and it's just, you can't. Julie Bowen's also in it. This is before she was major famous, and she looked good in that movie. This is when she was first starting out acting, and she was just a stunner. But the movie is hilarious. Bob Barker and Adam Sandler getting a fight, can never go wrong with that. So check out Happy Gilmore. Finally, the 10th one on the list is Can't Hardly Wait. It's another coming-of-age film. It's got Seth Green. It's also got Ethan Embry, who was in one of the last of the Vacation series, the Vegas Vacation. But Ethan Embry, Seth Green, and then I like this movie. There's another tiny little thing about this movie that's funny is Jenna Elfman was in the movie, and she had a bit role. This is before Dharma and Greg, and when I first moved to New York, I don't know, a year in or so, I dated a girl that was a spitting image of Jenna Elfman, and people would often stop and do a double take, see if it was her. She got asked for an autograph a time or two. People just assumed it was Jenna Elfman. I always got a kick out of that, but she was in that movie as well. But Can't Hardly Wait, that's one of those movies that if it wasn't such a basic, plain, and a coming-of-age high school graduation party type movie, Seth Green probably could have won an Oscar for it. I've never seen such a silly movie have such great acting there was such a standout actor in that movie. He just played this little hip hop kid he was just perfect. So if you ever get a chance, if you haven't seen that, check that out. I have a couple of honorable mentions that were thrown in the list, and then I kind of scratched them off just because they were either too famous or didn't really fit. Or like, for instance, Funny Farm is one of them, but I didn't want to have too much Chevy Chase. The Great Outdoors, also a great one, but again, that whole crew there with John Candy, so I didn't want to have too much of one particular actor on my list. But those two are both honorable mentions, as well as American Pie, which I think most of you have probably seen that, loved it, and Swingers. But Swingers I had to take off the list, even though I love the movie, because it can get annoying. You watch it too many times, or if you're not really in the mood for that kind of humor. Well, shoot, I can't even think of his name right now. The one big tall actor that's super famous. Gosh, I'm drawing a blank right now. It's embarrassing. But anyway, he can really drive you nuts on that. on that film if you're not in the mood for that kind of humor. So those are my honorable mentions. And I just Vince Vaughn, that's the name I was trying to think of. Sorry, I had to check that out real quick. So that's my podcast for the week. It's a pretty boring one because I was just my mind's just been in a million different directions, and I wanted to didn't want to just get on here and vent. So one of the positive things I do is watch a great old school funny comedy, lighthearted and well done. So that's my list of 10 favorite comedies to ease your stress, let's say. So thank you very much. I want to appreciate you again for listening to me this week. We'll have another one next week coming up soon, and then I think my next guest is going to be maybe in 2 weeks or 3 weeks. I've got it scheduled, or I've been in contact with the guy. We're trying to figure out a date, but you're gonna love him. He's crazy, and he's gonna be a lot of fun. So check out the website. You can check out any of my books on the website. I've got 2 of them out there. I'm working on a 3rd, so hopefully that comes quick and soon. And I hope you all are doing well out there. I hope the world's treating you right. It's been some crazy times going on. I hate to see that there's a war in the world, and I hate to see that people are struggling and suffering and scared, and these aren't easy times. But we're all in it together. Not as a I'm not making a COVID reference here. Like that's some of the taglines of the world have kind of been stolen by some recent events. But we all have our good days and bad days, and we're all fighting for a better world. So. That's it for this week. I appreciate your time, as always, and I thank you for listening. This is the 1218 Show. My name is Mike Wilson, and look forward to talking to you again soon. Have a great week. Have a great day. Bye-bye.